Hey, let me tell you, you'd better watch this video alone in your room and wearing headphones, because if someone in your family hears it, it'll be really weird. It's just that this story is about this guy who sees the hottest girl in his school taking off her shirt, and then he discovers that she has a power that only works when she gets naked. So now he's forced to follow her everywhere and change her underwear when she tells him to. It's crazy. But before I continue, leave a like, man, and subscribe to the channel, please. Without further ado, let's recap. The protagonist of this anime is Shirota, a guy who's basically invisible at school. It's that story that we already know very well about the kid who has nothing special but ends up with the hottest girl in the school. He likes to have lunch in the gym's storage room because no one goes there at lunchtime and he can be alone watching memes on his phone. And one day while he's having lunch, someone enters the room. He looks and sees Takamine, the goddess of the school. She's the best student, the best athlete, and is president of the student council. The girl really is a joy to behold. Damn. Shirota has no idea why she's there, especially since it's forbidden to enter that room. But when he looks at her, she's taken off her shirt. And on top of that, she's braless. He keeps trying not to look, but he can't. He has to take a peek while she takes off her shirt and puts on a bra. And then he spends the rest of the day with a hard-on, thinking about why that happened, why she was without a bra. Man, he goes crazy trying to understand everything and trying to get Takamine's big milkers out of his mind. But he can't, there's no way. In class, the math teacher gives him his quiz back and Shirota is happy to have passed. Yeah, I can relate, I was also terrible at math. Any grade above average for me was already an A. And when Takamine goes to get her quiz, everyone is shocked because she didn't get 100. And that never happened. She was perfect after all. She makes a face like she's going to break the teacher in half because even she can't believe it. And suddenly, just like that, she takes off her underwear and shows her big rear to everyone. But it seems that only Shirota notices. And then, to cut the mood, Shirota hears the teacher calling him to take the quiz. And he's like, wait, but I've already taken my quiz. What? He looks at the desk and there was no quiz. So he gets up again and goes to the teacher having no idea about what was happening. Then the teacher calls Takamine and says that she got full marks. And Shirota goes crazy for real, because he could swear that this was not what was going to happen. He leaves the class thinking, I don't get this. First the girl's half naked, then she sees that she got a grade that she didn't want and decides to take off her panties in the middle of the room, and then out of nowhere she got 100. What's going on, man? So he decides to go to the student council room to ask Takamine what happened. And right away she realizes that he found out her secret. And the girl looks at him in a way that if it were me, I would have already shit myself. She may be hot as fuck, but that face makes her look like the devil, holy crap. And since she can't hide anything from Shirota anymore, she decides to tell him everything and reveals that her great secret power is to go back in time as she sees fit. But this only happens in a very specific way, which is when she takes off her underwear. That's why she showed her trunk to everyone in the middle of class. She wanted to go back in time to retake the quiz and get 100. She might have done something similar before, so she had to go to the storage room to put her bra on, but she doesn't tell him what it was. Thinking about it, she must do this all the time. That's why she's the perfect student, right? Whenever something bad happens, she just goes back in time and does it again. But the problem with this is that all the time she has nothing under her clothes and has to keep changing. And that's when she has an idea. Before that, you have to understand one thing about Takamine. She's crazy. Like, she thinks she's at a level above everyone else because she's the best student in school. And she says that Shirota has to be punished because she saw her on her birthday suit. But at the same time, she keeps teasing him. He knocks over a glass of water, but Takamine manages to dodge it. But then she thinks this is a great opportunity to demonstrate her power. So she takes off her bra in front of him, and out of nowhere, her shirt is all wet with nothing underneath. And Shirota gets dizzy just looking at her pair of magic balloons. She even makes him dry her balloons and asks if he hasn't seen anything different. So she holds his hand and makes him squeeze her big melon, and he goes crazy because it looks like he's playing with slime because of how soft it is. Takamine says that the first time she found out she had this power was one day she was participating in a race in the 5th grade, and when she was about to win, she started to feel sick because of breakfast and lost the race. She was so pissed off with the result that she ended up pissing her pants in the 5th grade. Ooh, that's embarrassing. If it wasn't my school, she would never step foot in the classroom again. And then she went to take off her clothes, and when she realized she was holding the first place prize, she explains that after she uses the power, her underwear disappears, and every time she needs to put on a new one. So this will be Shirota's punishment. From now on, he will be her closet, and you have to follow her everywhere so that when she needs to go back in time, he can put her clothes on later. In her mind, this is a great proposal because she will transform a guy that no one knows into an important and unique person, the only person who can be close to her whenever he wants. But Shirota realizes that Takamine is completely crazy and decides to leave, but she won't let him go so easily. She throws herself at him and he falls on top of her. She apologizes for being so rude and puts his hand on her magic balloon again, and he thinks he will end up getting a reward. But then out of nowhere she screams so that the whole school hears, and a lot of students come to see what's going on. She says that Shirota attacked her and the crowd holds him. They call the police to Shirota, and the only way to get out of this is by begging Takamine to go back in time, but she will only do that if he accepts to become her closet. So Shirota has no other option. Everything goes back to normal, and now Shirota basically becomes Takamine's slave, and the first thing he does is put her panties back on. Takamine noticed that since he entered the room, he avoided looking at her too much, and she says that his gentleman way remains the same. I'm thinking that maybe they have met before and he doesn't remember. There's always this story too, right? Of childhood friends who move away and then become friends again when the girl becomes a hottie. Although in this case they're not even friends, right? Shirota just gets pushed around. And to top it all off, he still has to put her bra on too, and he keeps trying not to look at her. And now that Shirota has become Takamine's closet, she gives him a bag with a lot of panties and tells him to always have them with him so he can change her when she needs. Oh, now you will understand why she's the perfect student. Any wrong thing she does is a reason for her to go back in time and do it again. Even when there's nothing wrong, she just comes back to do better. In Japanese class, the teacher asks Takamine to read a part of the poem they're studying. She gets up and reads the thing perfectly, and the whole room is drooling over her. But then, when she finishes reading, there's a wind in the room, and she thinks that this is a great opportunity to create a mood when reading the poem. So she just takes off her clothes. Dude, she has no shame at all. And when she reads the poem again, with the wind blowing and the leaves flying, Shirota feels like they're in feudal Japan, with everyone gathering to listen to Takamine reading. So far, everything is good, but then Shirota remembers that he has to work, and Takamine wants him to change right there, in the middle of everyone. He can't leave it for later. She throws her eraser on the floor to pretend that it was his, and he gets up to pick it up. So he takes advantage of the fact that he's crouching down to put her panties on. Oh man, how come no one notices what's happening? Everyone is blind in this school, it's crazy. Shirota goes back to his desk, sweating but relieved to have made it. But when he looks back, he sees that he did a terrible job. The girl's panties are almost hanging on her legs. And right at that time, the teacher starts calling the students to return the work they did. And Shirota gets desperate, because if Takamine walks like that, her panties will fall to the floor halfway. And if that happens, he will be the one who will get in trouble. He's so out of it that when the teacher calls Takamine, he's the one who shouts in response. He gets her work and takes it to her desk. And then she tells him to dress her properly or it will be bad for him. And this time he's a little smarter. He uses his leg to push her panties back until they're right. But he goes crazy in the process because he feels the caliber of her pair of thighs squeezing him. At that, he ends up getting distracted and his knee squeezes slightly in Takamine's promised land and she gasps. But in the end, everything works out. I don't know how, because it was just crazy that happened there and no one in the class noticed anything. Just this scene of Shirota dressing Takamine lasted almost the entire episode. And in the end, she calls him in the council room and asks him why he decided to help her after he had already done the work. But even he doesn't know. Dude, he just wanted one more chance to get close to the Hottie. How can you blame him? Takamine says she would be happy if he said it was because he didn't want anyone else to see her panties. Who would have thought that this crazy girl has a cute side, huh? Will Shirota end up getting something out of this? Then he asks about her gasp before, but she won't admit it at all. But it seems that she has some story with Shirota that we don't know yet. Because when she's at home choosing the panties to put in her bag, she thinks if she should get a bolder one for him to put on her. But it's too early for that. Well, I think Shirota might actually get with the goddess of the school after all, huh? Okay, that's it for now. I'll be back later with more of this insane story. If this video was good, leave a like, man. And subscribe as well because there will be a lot more videos coming. I'll see you later. Peace.